Hey friends, welcome to episode 2 of Theme Park Thursdays here on my Nicole Scrapbooks YouTube channel. This is the layout that we're going to be doing today. It's of course of the Florida Welcome Center. I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you like seeing the finished product at the beginning? I of course am traveling back in time. I finished the whole layout and then I'm filming this last, but I'm going to put it at the beginning so that you can see what you're going to get before you take the time to watch it. Is that a spoiler? Would you rather just be surprised and have me tell you what's going to happen? Or do you like seeing the finished product before you invest the time in watching the layout? So here it is. This is our Florida Welcome Center layout. We're going to be using a paper pack called Fruity Delights and doing some welding and some adventures with foam tape. So I hope you will stay and watch the process of how I put this layout together for my first full page, double page spread in my Disney Girls 2022 scrapbook. All right, here we go. These are the pictures. This is the first full layout in my album. And this was my daughter and I who drove from Alabama down to Disney World. And one of the things that we love to do is to stop at the Florida Welcome Center. And I know there's a glare. It's either that or dark. So, and so I have these pictures of us, you know, by the Welcome to Florida sign, getting our free, hers is orange, mine is grapefruit juice, all the things that we do when we go down to Florida. And this time, instead of using a sketch or an idea from Pinterest, I'm going to try and just kind of figure this out on my own. Instead of starting with a layout idea, I'm actually starting with the products I want to use. Creative Memories a year or two ago had this Fruity Delights paper pack. This is an advisor, a quarterly advisor exclusive paper pack. I usually use these for retreat gifts or special customer thank yous. And I have some left of this, and it's a little bit hard to use, but it's all kind of citrusy. So because I have some of this left, and what better to use it for than, a trip to Florida. So I want to use this and the stickers, even though a lot of the stickers aren't going to apply to me. So it's got this kind of citrusy paper and a green plaid. This one is pineapples. This is little citrus slices, white on pink. And then this one I'm probably not going to be able to use because it's orange with little, I can maybe use this orange with little marks, but the back is watermelons. And I think these are supposed to be like the watermelon seeds. So I think these two papers kind of go together more. And these are the three that are going to work more for what I'm doing. I'll save those watermelons for something else. And I think, the hard thing is there's not a lot of options if I use these papers. I think I need to use this like as a background. I guess I could use, I like the green. So maybe I use the green as a, I don't really want to use these little pineapples with the oranges. I like these two pieces together. So I might have to do some creative welding so that I can have both of these, and then I can use, I don't really like this as a mat though either. Maybe I do this. No, it's gonna have to be like this. It's these two papers together are the ones that I want. And that makes it tricky because, I only have 2 of them. I mean, I probably have more, but I don't want to have to open 2 packs of paper for one layout. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut a frame. You guys know I love to do frames, and I think we're going to cut and weld to make this frame. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scrap of paper. Actually, I'll take this front piece, the Fruity Delights, and I'm just going to cut some 1/2-inch strips from it. And I probably need 6 total, so I'll just go ahead and cut all of those. Creative Memories has told us that this paper is safe. It's got all the same paper qualities, you know, as far as being acid free, and I don't know if it's buffered, but it might be. But it's not going to damage your photos. You don't have to worry. It's not like putting newsprint or something horrible like that in your album. And newsprint is really bad to put in your album, in case you don't know that. It's designed to be temporary and to decompose quickly. So what I want to do, I can't tell if this has, I think maybe I like this as the up and down with the little green limes being up and down, which means I need to cut my frame. I'm going to cut a C-shaped frame this way. So I'm going to start this section. I'm going to take it to 1.5 inches, which is not the very last line here on the grid. The very last line on the grid is 1 3/4 inches. I'm going to come here to the 1.5, which is the second line. And then I want to cut a 1/2 inch frame. And so what I found is easiest for me is if I bring my blade housing down and put this at the 10.5 inches, which is what will give me that 1/2 inch. But you know that the blade housing covers up the ruler that's here on the side. So I know that the distance from this line to that line is 1 inch. So I'm going to put this at 11.5 inches, a little shy of 11.5 inches, and just cut upwards. And I like to do that rather than cutting to a certain point, because then I know that I'm going to cut where I need to, you know, it's going to end where I need it to end, and I won't accidentally keep going. And then I flipped it over so that I could do the same thing, still putting my 1.5 inch on this side. I always like to put the bulk of my paper on this wider piece with the logo, because then I can make sure that it's straight. When you're trying to cut, I see people all the time trying to cut 1 inch or 1/2 inch this way, and it kind of makes me cringe, because you just don't have as much, you have that tiny little piece to position to make sure that it's straight. And I really want to be able to have it, you know that it's straight. So now I'm going to flip it this way, and I can see fairly well where my cut lines are to start and end my cut, or I can still use the ruler. But this time I'm going to go right here. There's my cut line, and to right here, there's my cut line. Okay, and now before I cut the other piece, just so I can make sure that I have it right, I'm going to just take this right now and flip it over, and I'm going to weld this together. And you know that the way I like to weld, I do it differently than a lot of other people do. I like to take my paper, and I like to put the adhesive on the 2 pieces of paper that I'm going to weld together. Other people who weld, I often see them put adhesive on their strip, but I have found that that is hard for me. I want to know that my pieces aren't going to move, and by putting the adhesive on them when they're together. I learned this from my friend Sherry Tilley. Oops, out of tape. All right, let me change my tape real quick. Okay, I learned this technique from my friend Sherry Tilley, and it has been life-changing for me. I used to hate welding, and now I really enjoy welding. I love being able to get, you know, to use 2 pieces of paper and be able to use the front and back, and I just feel like I get so much more out of my paper. So thank you to Sherry for teaching me that tip. So you see, I'm kind of going over, you know, I'm just sticking these down because it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is right here where the weld is. So now I'm just going to take this and cut these off. And it doesn't have to look pretty because this is the back. All right, get those off. Okay, so now the front of my paper is going to look like this, which is what I was going for. And now I'm going to cut the other piece the opposite way. I'm going to make sure that when I cut, I know that I want this way so that it will line up. And we'll do the exact same thing, 1.5. All right, I'll do this and put it together and snip this part out of the recording and be right back. Okay, I've completed the other side, so now I have my base pages for my layout. I know that I'm going to want to use this little banner, and I think I'm going to put it right along the seam. I did have a weird thing happen on this one that my paper didn't quite line up exactly. I have no idea how that could happen because it's the exact piece I took out. So there's a tiny bit of a little gap right there. You can't really see it, but it's kind of annoying to me. So I was thinking I would just use this. I think I'm going to cut this out and lay it on there. That'll give me a visual. And this is a good way if you're not exactly sure what you want to do with your stickers. If you cut them off and leave them on the backing, you can rearrange them. It's a little tricky sometimes to get between these little skinny ones, but okay, now these are cut, and I don't know that I love it. I think I need more of a contrast. So I think I'm going to pull out this with the small citrus and the pineapples, the tiny little pineapples. And I don't know that you can really tell they're pineapples. So I'm going to cut, this is a, oh boy, about a 5/8 of an inch high banner once you take off the outside edge. So 5/8 is just a smidge smaller than 3/4 of an inch. I think 3/4 of an inch is going to be too small. So let's do a 1 inch. We'll do a 1 inch strip of the yellow. Oh, I wish I could have figured out what exactly the spacing was so that my strips look the same. Actually, maybe I will do that. This is another little silly thing that I do, but I want my pieces to align with each other. So I'm going to trim off basically right at the bottom of this little pineapple. I have told you before, you guys, that sometimes I'm a little OCD about how I want my layouts to look. Okay, now that's not quite, no, it's about the same. I didn't end up with much of this, just a few little specks of the little pineapple leaf on one end, but I think that's going to give me what I want. And if not, I may end up going with some cardstock. Let's do that. So this is kind of my focal point. Welcome to Florida. Always like to put our juice pictures. Do I want those stacked? And then we've got these two. My daughter's Instagram. I'm going to trim that down a little bit. So this is one of the reasons I like Snapfish. I don't know if I mentioned this in my initial video, but this is a 4x6 photo, and this is a 4 by 5.3, the digital. So this is from a phone. This is also from a phone, but it was a screenshot, so because it was her Snapchat. So this printed 4x6, but it printed them at the size I uploaded them. It didn't crop all my 4x6s to match or extend all my others to match. So my pictures are not the same size, as you will see. Kind of like this. I'll trim this down a little bit, although I do like the little speckles on the floor right there. So maybe I want our two little juice pictures up here at the top and these down here. I think I need to matte this, but I don't know what to matte it with. I think I need some orange. Let's see what orange cardstock I have that's the right shade. All right, so this is Pumpkin, and it's one of our newer cardstock colors, and it's pretty close. I think it's close enough for what I want to do here, but I think I'm also going to need some dark green. All right, I think these two, this orange is actually a little bit bright now that I look at it with the green. So let me see what else I got. All right, so this orange is a color called Paprika, and it was from a cardstock buffet a couple of years ago. You guys have seen my videos where I have my wall of cardstock behind me and my Stampin' Storage organizers. All of that cardstock is CM cardstock over the years. So it's not, I mean, this is a little bit redder. This I think was a better match for it, but this kind of is too dominant. So I think I am going to use this paprika cardstock and matte that photo, and I might have to do something else. Oh, I wonder where my citrus chain border maker cartridge is. That might actually work well. I don't know if I have that one handy. That might be over at my crop venue. It's a problem with doing some of my videos at home when most of my current products are somewhere else. And I just like to eyeball these when I cut. I've learned just to be able to tell just by looking at this how it compares to the gray. I guess I kind of line up the edge of my picture with the edge of the gray matte. There we go. So that kind of gives me a fairly even matte around this. I'm going to trim this one down using my personal trimmer. And I think I'm just going to mark this with a pencil so I can see where to make my cut. Because I can't really cut off the bottom because I don't want to take off what her little Snapchat said. And I've told you before, I much prefer to use my my personal trimmer for cutting photos than my 12-inch trimmer. All right. This one, I guess I can cut some of the top off of this one. I don't care much about that. And I'm going to cut off the side right here that has the closed sign because my eye was being drawn to that. But I am going to leave this because it had this cool stuff on the floor with the lights. And this one, I guess I could cut off the welcome sign. All right. There's a little extra thing poking out right there too. I'm going to trim off just to kind of make my picture a little bit prettier. I'm going to trim this guy down too. So I guess this doesn't technically count as a theme park video, does it? Because it's just the travel to, but you know, we very rarely fly when we go to Florida, and I kind of envy those of you who get to do some of those flying pictures. I'm feeling like the pictures themselves are not really popping off the page. I don't like to matte all of my photos. I feel like it just takes a lot of time, but on this one, I might have to. Let's see. I don't want to. I think I won't. I'm not going to do that, but let's look at the other stickers and see what we're going to put on here. I think I'll do the sun. And oh, this one, the little banner that says smile, and these little half circle lemony things. Sorry, I sometimes forget that I'm off camera when I'm cutting. So we'll cut these off. Now I'm going to have this other banner right here. So that might be too, maybe I'll do it like over here. Might be too much bannering in one spot. I have the banners there and this little smile on the side, the sun, and I'll put maybe Florida. I'd like to put Florida Welcome Center, and I'll use white. Oh, I have the orange. Maybe I'll use the orange collegiate sticker letters. But I like the sun. But it's not going to show up very well right here. Maybe that. Where did my little other pieces go? Right here. I don't want to use too many little word phrases. But I think smile and life is sweet go well together. And just put these little these little pieces kind of like that. I have these little tiny circly ones. I might use those too, but I think I'm going to do this right now and put the ABCs on and journal, and then we'll see. Oh, I should have put the other stickers on first. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and put this down, stick these little strips down. I guess I could have used this to mat a couple of the photos if I wanted to. But to make it straight, I'm going to use my grid. Let's see, I had a 1.5, so oops, I don't want my little guys upside down. I do it right here. You know, when I usually do my my YouTube videos, I have created a sample layout before I put one together for you. And sometimes I have regrets about what I've done, and you guys never have to see my plan A. I'm not sure that I love this, but yeah, I guess that's all right. It's mostly going to be covered up. I don't really love the little pineapples on here, but they're fine. So this will come here. And I think I want to line this up, this little edge of her Snapchat caption. And then I'll put this. And I know I got the dark green out and I'm not using it, but I think that's all right. I don't think I need it. Okay, now I'll do the other page. I don't know if that was quite straight on the grid. There we go. Put this down. I'm lining up. There's a little tiny top little piece of that banner. So I'm lining that up with the top of my yellow pineapples piece. And I probably could have gotten away with that 3/4 inch. I do feel like this mustardy yellow is just getting lost on the banners, but oh well. The rest of them pop up a lot better on this than they would on this fruity paper. Okay. So now we'll put our picture together up here. I don't really want to line it up with that, so I need to make sure that it doesn't, like, it's not too close. I want it to be offset a little bit. I was looking at my picture trying to figure out like who this guy is back here. Celebrate golf's greatest something. So sorry if you're a golfer and you know who that is, but I thought about chopping him off and giving us a yeah, I think I will. Sorry, little guy who's golf's greatest something. I'm gonna chop most of your head off. Oh, but see, then she's taller, so she's gonna have to go here, and we'll go next to her. That is a really cute picture of her. Sometimes we don't make it to the Florida Welcome Center before they close, and it's always a disappointment. And of course, during COVID, we did go down to Florida a couple times to visit some friends, but they weren't giving orange juice at all. So that was sad too. Got to get our little orange juice to get us in the mood for being in Florida. I think I'm going to cut off, sorry Tampa Bay, I'm going to cut off this little white half word that I had from yours. That looks better. One of the things when I very first started with Creative Memories, and I used to teach the beginner class, home classes, and I still talk about this when I do a beginner class, is that the beautiful thing about cropping is it allows you to create the picture that you meant to take. And a lot of times something that ends up in the background of your photo is not what you wanted to have your photo be of, and you don't have to keep it because that wasn't the purpose of your photo, and it's okay to crop that off. Okay, I think we'll do that right here. Put the sun right there. This paper pack might still be available through a Creative Memories advisor. If it's something that you think you really like, you know, you can message me, you can message your own, if you have your own advisor, then she could find out for you. I kind of want to put this on foam. Okay, and I'm not, because it's so small, I'm not gonna use foam squares, I'm gonna use foam tape. All right, so here's my foam tape. It's a little worse for wear. I think my cat must have sat on it because it's got some little black cat hairs on it, but I can just cut the size that I need. This long. And then I'm gonna cut this in half. And I love the microchip scissors for this because they have this non-stick Teflon coating. So they're great for cutting sticky things like tape. How are you feeling? Oh, now that was too long. I misjudged. So I'll just trim that little piece off. And I might actually take this little piece I cut off and put it on these pieces that are poking out. I think I personally tend to put maybe too much foam tape a lot of the time. It's probably fine without it, but I don't want it to get squished down. I want the whole thing to be popped up. All right, so there's my little foam tape on here. And we'll do looking. Although I'm not sure that I would classify myself as looking fresh. I really look like somebody that's been in the car for 7 hours. That's okay. I'm gonna try and do that last, I think that's an exclamation point, and I'm just gonna cut a little sliver off of this piece. And that's, I mean, you could do this with the foam squares too, but the foam tape, I think, is a little bit more of a cost savings overdoing the foam squares. Although I do love me some foam squares. Okay. Going a little bit off the edge, and I'll have to come back and trim these. So this is my youngest daughter, Michelle, and she and I have actually done quite a few Disney trips, just the two of us. It's kind of our thing that we both like to do. So I found myself thinking as I've been working on these layouts that, oh yeah, didn't we do such and such? And realizing that was a different Disney trip. So you've probably seen her in some of the other albums that I have shared, or some of the ones I haven't shared yet because I haven't got the titles done. All right, I think those are all now sticky, looking fresh. Okay, I'm gonna wait with these little little citrusy pieces, but I am gonna put this, oh, now, see, but now I started using dimension, and I think I want dimension on this too. But I'll use the squares this time because I still have a lot of these little ones from before they changed the style. So we'll just put, and again, I'll probably put too many because that's what I do. And I know that you can take your stickers and like use a baby powder or something, cornstarch. I wouldn't use cornstarch just because that's a food product. I don't think I want food in my scrapbooks. And I actually don't know about the archival nature of cornstarch either. So, but you can de-stickify them. You can even just like take the sticker and stick it to the leg of your jeans or something and de-stickify it a little bit before you put the foam squares on it, if you're worried about it coming down and sticking to the paper later. But I don't really find that to be a problem because when you close your album, it gives all over pressure usually, except for, of course, where you've had pieces of adhesive or embellishments with foam squares. So take all those off. All right, and then this is going to come, actually I want this to be underneath it. Tuck it in a little bit. No, maybe not. Okay, so we'll put that right there. On purpose, not straight. I kind of want it to be down, and then I'll put the smile. Life is sweet. Yeah, I think I like it kind of over here to the side. All right, and then I was going to do the 3 little citrusy things over here. All right, now I'm going to get out my ABCs and do the title. So now I have to decide what I want to do. I was kind of thinking I would use the orange, but it's really orange compared to everything else on this page. I have the white that we used for the title page, and the white could probably work because it, not only is there white in the border, but the stickers are all on white. So I might do that. And then I have the yellow, also very bright compared to kind of the muted colors in this. So I think my best bet, even though I planned to use color, I think my best bet might be to use white. And I mean, I guess I could color them again. I don't really want to have to do that for every layout though. So we're just going to stick with white, classic white. And if I hate them, then down the line I can replace them with, I can just put new stickers on top of it. And this time I'm going to use some lowercase letters and not just the uppercase. So here's my multi-purpose tool again. And we'll do pretty much the same thing so that I can figure out. Oh, but I want to write Florida Welcome Center. So I think I need to do the word welcome first because it's the widest, and make sure that that's going to fit. So one of the other things you can use this for is to punch those little middle pieces out of your sticker letters. All right, I think that'll be okay. So when these collegiate letters came out, I bought multiples of them in all the colors. Even though back then I was kind of like, ABC stickers, don't really use them. But it is pretty nice. So now I just hope I have enough. But thankfully, the some of the colors are still available. The white and the black, I think, are permanent to the product line. Nothing's really like permanent, I have to say, with Creative Memories. You know, the only thing they've told us that's permanent, I mean, we know we're going to have album covers, but we don't necessarily know what color those are going to be. But the, you know, tape runner, some of that stuff. But everything else is kind of based on what we are buying. All right, so this is going to fit welcome. So it's going to be Florida, kind of right here. Use my grid again to help me figure out. In fact, I think I'm going to use a Post-it note, so I'll know where to position my letters when I come back to use this as a ruler. So I want that. So move that down to 1/4 inch. I'll put this right here. Then this is a little tricky to do the to position 3 things of letters without necessarily knowing where I'm going to put them. Florida welcome. So I want this to be down here. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to do center and then come back and then put the welcome on. Hopefully that's not too confusing to you guys. It's a little confusing to me. Okay, I pulled out these letters. I snipped that out so you don't have to watch it. And then I want to put it here, and I want the bottom of my letters to align with the bottom of this picture, which really means I should have, I guess I could just do it like that. Hopefully my picture's straight and I can take that off. So I'm going to make sure that I should have done these before this, because now this little foam squares are getting in my way. Put that up there, and then make sure that this is straight by aligning it on the side. And then I'm just going to use my fingers for these, because the dark paper, there is a better than average chance that this will this might pick up the ink off the paper if I have to move these too much. So I want to try and get them right where I want them. You guys probably have a better view than I do of whether these are straight or not. All right, I'm gonna have to put my head in the screen, sorry. Okay. Okay, so there's center, and then we want welcome to be like a 1/4 inch above that. So I've got my 1/4 inch line right there. And this one I think I'm going to, well, how much it takes the whole place? Well, a little bit. I think I'm going to put this, the W, so I got to come all the way over here so that I can have I'm using this edge to make it straight, I hope. And I'm going to start with the W because I want it to be right at the edge. All right, so there we've got welcome and center. And now I've got to pull out the letters for Florida, and then I'll do this one upside down. But I'll fast forward so you don't have to watch me pull out all the Florida letters. Okay, I've got my letters pulled up, and I think I'm gonna actually look at it this way just to decide where I want it to say Florida. I think I'm gonna line the letter A with this letter R to kind of make it, it's gonna be up a little bit, but so, you know, I could do it with lining it up with that, but then that might annoy me. So this way there's a little bit of consistency between the two. And like I said, I'm gonna do this upside down so that I don't have to hopefully put my head in the shot. Again, I'm lining up this edge to make sure that this is straight. And then I'm putting the 1/4 inch mark. Thankfully, I have the W and the L to position that with, but I can kind of see here that that's pretty straight. So, okay, and now I've got to remember to dot my I. And this multi-purpose tool is really good for that because this little dot for the I is tiny. All right, now it looks like my L is a smidge crooked. Maybe not. It's all right. All right, so there's my title, Florida Welcome Center, and I do need a little bit of journaling just to talk about some of the things I told you that we always like to stop at the Florida Welcome Center. I probably journal that every time we come through, and it's going to need to have a little journaling box. I think I might use this piece. Even though it's not, I haven't used this color anywhere else. Well, maybe I won't. I can't use this side, it's too busy. Okay, well, what the heck. We'll give ourselves about 2 inches of pineapples by, where that is right there. All right, so let me do a little journaling, and then I'll come back and I'll show you, I'll clean off the desk and show you the finished product, or the finished layout with the journaling and everything done. All right, here we go. I've got my journaling done. I said we've learned that if we want to make it to the Florida Welcome Center before they close at 5 p.m. Eastern, our best bet is to start our drive the day before and spend the night in Atlanta. That way we don't have to hit the road at dawn to get our free juice, which is what we like. So I think that's all. I do maybe think I want to put a couple of these little tiny citrusy things on here just as, I don't know, just because you can never have too many embellishments, right? You can actually have too many embellishments, but I just wanted to add a couple more little of these little lemons. They're kind of lemony sunshines. Oh, I do like the little lemons too. We didn't have lemon juice. It was all citrus. Okay, I won't do the lemons. I'll save that for something else. And I'll put one up here on her picture. All right, so there we go. There is layout number 2 in our Theme Park Thursday series. And I think that the next layout we might actually be at the theme park. So, well, actually, no. I think we got one more that's on our way there, but we're getting close. But getting there is half the fun, right? So, thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed watching my process. We're proud of me for kind of coming out with this myself, not necessarily going to Pinterest or a sketchbook. Can't promise I'll do that very often, but for this one, I think it turned out well. I'm so glad I got to use this Fruity Delights paper that's been haunting me for quite a while, over a year. I've had it in my stash. So layout number 2, the Florida Welcome Center, I guess that's what I'm going to call it. And yeah, I'll be back next Thursday with another edition of Theme Park Thursdays. Thanks so much and happy scrapbooking.